What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPapa, and this is my favorite type of video because it was inspired by a comment down below. And the comment was perfectly timed because I had just got done shooting some content on some of my favorite kind of hidden gems or unloved sealed products here in the Pokemon space. And one of those hidden gems, in my mind, was the Evolving Skies 3-pack blister with the Umbreon on it, right? Like, I have loved that product for the last year. It's gone up, it's gone down, it's gone sideways through all of its price changes. I have absolutely loved that product. And, you know, the person was asking about 3-pack blisters in the comments and about their investability. And I always sit here and talk about the strong track record of 3-pack blisters. But then I realized I have never shared the data with you. I've never done any content on it. And I'm so committed to showing you the why and less of the what, like 80% on the why, 20% on the what. The fact that I've never brought that kind of data and information to you, like, shame on me, right? If I'm going to say something, I need some kind of data to validate that. So I had all of it. I pulled it all together and I'm going to share it with you today. Now, a couple other cool things that kind of got my mind going when I was thinking about 3-pack blisters is, could they be easier to store? I know storage is always an issue, you know. The other thing that's really cool about these is you can buy these on a budget, right? You might not have $90, $100, $145 to spend on a booster box right now. I mean, I've had times where mac and cheese on a Friday night was a delicacy, right? I've had times where, you know, I could buy booster boxes aplenty, and I've had times where I couldn't afford a single pack of cards if my life depended on it. You know, we all go through different kind of ebbs and flows in our life, and sometimes we have more and sometimes we have less. And at times of less, this could be a really cool opportunity for us to pick some of this up, because guess what? As you get into the meat and potatoes of this video, you're gonna find that the track record of this is actually really strong, and believe it or not, it's pretty close to the same performance as booster boxes. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about, because I always try and be as transparent as possible, is liquidity is something that's really important, right? You can have a TCG player graph that tells you a product is worth $1 million, but guess what? If nobody is out there willing to buy the product for $1 million, or worst case, nobody wants the product as a whole, it's not really worth $1 million, is it? So I went through, and not only did I look at the TCG player graphs, but I also went on eBay and checked the sold listings just to make sure that these products are actually exchanging hands. And they don't exchange hands with the same velocity that booster boxes do, but there are enough sales out there that I think if you were to buy these in the future, there would be some open arms waiting to buy them from you. So are they the fastest movers in the world? Absolutely not, but every single one on this list, I have seen multiple sales over the last couple months, and surely a ton of them in 2024, so enough to make me feel really good about it. The other reason I thought that this video was perfectly timed was because guess what? On the Pokemon Center, you can't buy Fusion Strike anymore. Booster boxes of Fusion Strike are sold out, but guess what's available at MSRP? These 3-pack blisters, which have these awesome promo cards in it, right? You can get Eevee, you can get Espeon, like, you can get these at MSRP, and when you see the track record, you might think that, hey, picking some of these up at MSRP might actually be a better play than buying a booster box at $165. Now, Brilliant Stars 3-pack blisters is also available on the Pokemon Center right now at MSRP, but so is the booster box. And to be honest with you, I would rather buy a booster box at MSRP than buy a 3-pack blister at MSRP. I think that the top dogs are going to outperform. So hey, listen, my money is still in booster boxes versus 3-pack blisters, but I'm telling you what, there's a very compelling argument that if you want to diversify a little bit, or if you're worried about storage, or if you want something that's easier to ship, or if you just don't want to spend that amount of money on a single product, that 3-pack blisters can be an awesome avenue to spend a little coin and to get some solid returns in the future. Now listen, we do fun stuff like this all the time. As I said, listen, I take all kinds of input from the comments down below. So if you enjoy this type of content, hit that subscribe button. Questions or comments, drop them down below. And if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. I got a small channel, and those 3 small things go a long way in helping me out, and I really appreciate it. So without further ado, let's get into this. Now, I will say this, we're going to talk about Sword and Shield base and Rebel Clash first, but I also want to say at the very last slide, we're going to talk about the product that spun all this up. We're going to talk about the Evolving Skies 3-pack blister, and we're going to do a side-by-side comparison of the Evolving Skies 3-pack blister and the current prices of the Evolving Skies booster boxes, so stay tuned. That's a really cool comparison. But to start off, I thought, hey, let's begin at the beginning of Sword and Shield. Let's talk about products that are in the Sword and Shield block, but are already sold out, right? You can't get Sword and Shield booster boxes at MSRP. You can't get Rebel Clash booster boxes at MSRP. Let's start there. Now, for the price comparison, I just assumed we bought both products at MSRP. And I know you can usually get booster boxes for a period of time after launch below MSRP. I get it. I understand that. Heck, every single Scarlet and Violet booster box is $100 or less right now. I understand that. But for a fair comparison, for an apples to apples comparison, we're using MSRP prices to start. So when you look at the 3-pack blister from Sword and Shield base, MSRP was $12.99. Now it's going for right about $35, which is a 2.68x growth, right? It is multiplied by 2.68. The booster box is at $268, which is only a 1.87x growth, right? So early on, the early winner is the 3-pack blister. Then Rebel Clash right here. Rebel Clash has some awesome promo cards in those 3-pack blisters. But guess what? The 3-pack blisters again outperformed, right? With a 2.5x growth versus 1.6x growth on the booster boxes. So when I was looking at this was where I first started, and I thought, okay, listen, Sword and Shield, there's still plenty of Sword and Shield products that are available at MSRP that are on the Pokemon Center website. So maybe Sword and Shield hasn't even come close to reaching what could be full potential. So then I thought to myself, well, why don't we look at Sun and Moon base? Why don't we start off with the 2 sets that began Sun and Moon era, because you certainly can't find those at MSRP. So that's the very next ones we're going to look at right here, and these are really cool too. So when you look at Guardian Rising right here, first off, as I said, liquidity is important. None of these are selling on TCG Player, so there's no graph for it, but thankfully they do sell relatively frequently on eBay. So I went on eBay, and the MSRP, or the actual price right now, is correct. It's at $35. That's a 2.68x growth versus an MSRP of $12.99. Now the booster boxes all the way up at $400. Guardian Rising booster boxes are insane at $400, which is a 2.78 growth. So the booster box wins here, but we're splitting hairs. You're talking about a 0.1 difference in growth over what, a span of like 6 years? I don't know when Guardian Risings came out. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it is a significant amount of time, and you are splitting hairs on the growth rate there. And then when you get to the Sun and Moon base set, it's not even close. It's not even a contest, right? Like MSRP of $12.99 for those 3-pack blisters, and they're now going for right around $50. That is a 4x growth for the 3-pack blisters. And the booster box is going for $273. Nothing to shake a fist at, but that's just shy of a 2x growth. Your growth is double in the 3-pack blister space than it is in the booster box space, okay? So then I was thinking, listen, we've talked about some of the, the early sets, which aren't really the greatest, so let's compare the big dogs. Let's dust our shoulders off. Let's get the biggest and baddest sets from the Sun and Moon era out, and let's see how those sets have performed from a 3-pack blister standpoint. So of course, Team Up, everybody knows. I just love watching Team Up. Team Up is a ton of fun, like an epic set. It is, I'm on the sidelines, pop popcorn, eating it, just watching this thing run and run and run, and I absolutely enjoy it. And the 3-pack blister is no exception, right? Starting off at $12.99, it is now $150 for a 3-pack blister of Team Up, which is absolutely Looney Tunes. That is an 11.5x growth rate. Again, insane growth. Now, booster boxes are up at $2,000, right? So you're talking about a 14x growth rate. So I'm telling you right now, like, the booster box wins hand down here, but it is hard to argue against 11.5x growth rate of the 3-pack blisters. And then you get to Cosmic Eclipse. So, I did a video the other day where I looked at the top investable singles from the Sword and Shield era. We looked at PSA 10 population, gem rate, all kinds of things. I just got done doing the exact same video for Sun and Moon, and guess what? 5 of the top cards from the entire Sun and Moon era come from Cosmic Eclipse. By the way, that video is awesome. I can't wait to share it with you guys. So the Cosmic Eclipse set has all kinds of awesomeness in it. Awesome cards. Booster boxes are up at $800. But guess what? Those 3-pack blisters are at $78.47 right now, which is right around 6x growth, with the booster boxes at $860 right now. Same thing, right at 6x growth. It's slightly more for the 3-pack blister, but we can call this a tie. A set as awesome as Cosmic Eclipse, guess what? The 3-pack blisters have given you the same amount of return as a booster box, and that was one of the most impactful things of pulling all of this data and looking at it as a whole. Now, we've talked about some of the lower tier ones. We've talked about the biggest and the baddest. So I said, hey, let's just go in the middle. Let's take a look at the middle ones and see how those have performed. So we have Unbroken Bonds right here, and we have Ultra Prism. I think they're epic sets, but they certainly aren't the top of the top, and they're far from the bottom of the bottom. They're kind of in the middle of the Sun and Moon era, right? So when you look at the Unbroken 3-pack blisters, they're going for about $47 right now, which is a 3.6x growth. The booster box wins. Booster boxes are going for $606, which is a 4.22x growth. So the booster box takes the crown there. And then when you look at Ultra Prism, same thing. Ultra Prism 3-pack blisters are going for $48, and booster boxes are going for about $659. So you got a 3.7x growth versus about a 4.6x growth, right? So the booster box wins in both these cases. And as I said in the beginning, I'm still a big believer. I think the booster box is still the better play, but I'm going to tell you right now, the growth rate, like the closeness between all of these prices, is really, really cool. And I think it's really encouraging. And again, it opens up a whole different price band for people who maybe don't want to go out there and spend a ton of money. The other thing that's exciting to me is, hey, listen, if you don't want to spend $660 on an Ultra Prism booster box, you could spend $48 on a 3-pack blister, and if history repeats itself, you're going to see pretty close to the same rate of returns that the booster box has seen. It's just really fascinating to watch and see how this is played out. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen. All I do is take data from the past, apply it to the present, and hope that the future mimics it to a certain degree. So again, I promised you we were going to talk about the thing that blew all of this up. And that's the Evolving Skies 3-pack blister with that Umbreon right there. It's going for about $47 right now. I loved it all the way up. I really loved it all the way down, and I continue to love it all the way up again. At the MSRP of $12.99, going for $47 right now. That's about a 3.68 growth. 3.6x growth, and then the booster box has gone absolutely stupid over the last month. I mean, absolutely stupid. I remember you could get this in the high 400s about a month ago, and now you're lucky to get it at 615. I know that's what the TCG player price says, but I think it's higher than that right now. So that gives you a 4.28 growth. Now, guess what? Not everybody has an Evolving Skies booster box in their collection. So hey, listen, if you don't have 650, 700, whatever the heck Evolving Skies booster boxes are going for on the day that this video comes out, you could get a really nice collectible piece right here in the 3-pack blister for right around $50. You got 3 Evolving Skies booster packs in there, right? We've seen the track record. It typically performs at least close to the way booster boxes perform. You got that awesome Umbreon card in there. Like, you can do far worse. If you want exposure to Evolving Skies and you don't want to go out and spend $700 on a booster box, I think this is a very, very viable replacement, and I think that this has a certain place in a lot of people's collections. As a matter of fact, I've told you time and time again, I want to increase my exposure to this particular product because I'm such a big fan of it. So anyways, hey, listen, this is an example of somebody having a great idea, dropping it in the comments down below, and me saying, hey, listen, I'm going to run with it. Again, I'm limited by my time, I'm limited by my data, but if you drop an awesome comment and it's a great video idea, I promise you I will at least try and chase it down. If you enjoyed this content, give us a thumbs up, and if you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. We do fun stuff like this all the time. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you have a great day, and I can't thank you enough for watching. I'll talk to you soon. See you, everybody.